Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're getting into something that it feels like a contradiction, really. Vulnerability. Our word for today is antithetical, basically meaning directly opposed. And that kind of sets up our main question, doesn't it? Why is being vulnerable so often seen as, both brave and weak?
It's a really interesting tension, yeah.
Yeah.
And the source we're looking at on vulnerability gives us a great base for trying to understand this.
Okay.
So the aim is really to unpack that seeming contradiction
Yeah.
and see what it tells us about personal growth, relationships, all that stuff.
Right. Okay, let's jump right in then. What is it about vulnerability that makes it feel so risky?
Hmm.
The source mentions this kind of inherent unease, even with people we really care about. It's that feeling of being exposed. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. There's a real potential for emotional fallout. I mean, think about it.
Yeah.
You share something really personal, and maybe it's not met with, I don't know, the understanding you were hoping for.
Right. Or empathy.
Or empathy, yeah. And that can sting. It really can. The source definitely highlights that potential for disappointment, that sort of short-term emotional damage almost,
Oof. Yeah.
which is a real fear for a lot of people.
Totally. That fear of just not being seen or maybe misunderstood or worse, having it kind of used against you somehow.
Right.
But then the discussion kind of shifts, and this is where I found it really fascinating. The source seems to suggest that actually going through those emotions,
Even the bad ones.
yeah, even the negative ones, that can be a really powerful way to understand yourself better. How does that actually work?
Well, it's like those feelings, even the uncomfortable ones, they give you really crucial information
Okay. Information about what?
about who in your life,
Yeah.
really deserve your openness, who can handle it, who you can trust with that part of yourself.
Ah, right.
So that process, that emotional feedback,
Hmm.
yeah, it can be uncomfortable sometimes, but it actually helps us build stronger, more authentic connections long term.
So you're learning through doing it, through the
Yeah.
experience itself.
You got it. Learning through experience.
But it's almost like we're testing the waters in our relationships, checking the temperature.
Kind of, yeah.
The piece talks about not wanting to operate under false ideas about people.
Exactly. Vulnerability becomes this sort of reality check.
Okay.
It helps us see past our own assumptions, maybe,
Yeah.
get a clearer picture of where we actually stand with people.
Mm.
The source uses this phrase, wanting a ballpark idea of our social world.
A ballpark. I like that.
Yeah. So you
yeah.
can, move around in it more confidently, more freely. It cuts down on the guesswork.
Right. Less ambiguity, more genuine interactions, maybe.
That's the idea. Fosters more genuine interactions.
Which actually makes me think of this quote from Bertrand Russell. He said, "The world is full of magical things patiently waiting for our wits to grow sharper."
Oh, it's good. Yeah.
And it strikes me that vulnerability is maybe one of those things that helps sharpen our wits, especially about ourselves and other people. Uh-huh.
It's like it unlocks a deeper way of seeing things in our relationships.
That's a really great connection. I think that's right. By choosing vulnerability, we're sort of actively engaging with our relationships, with ourselves on a much, much deeper level than just, surface chat.
Right. Moving past the small talk.
Exactly. You create the conditions for real connection, for personal evolution even.
Okay, so let's try and boil this down. This deep dive on vulnerability, it seems to show that even though it feels like weakness sometimes, stepping into vulnerability is actually, well, pretty courageous.
It is.
It comes with that risk, that potential for feeling hurt or awkward.
Right. The emotional discomfort.
But those exact experiences, they can actually fuel some pretty significant personal growth, help us get a more realistic, maybe more authentic view of our relationships.
And I think it's really important to remember that feeling all those emotions that come with it, even the difficult ones, that's not, a sign you're fragile.
It's more like it's part of the path. It guides you towards being a more authentic and maybe resilient version of yourself.
A more complete version.
Yeah, exactly. More complete.
Right. So maybe something for you listening to think about is, where could just a small act of vulnerability, carefully chosen, maybe with someone you trust, where could that give you a new insight? A fresh perspective on a relationship, or maybe just on your own journey?
It's a good question to ask.
It might just be the way to sharpen those wits, like Russell said, and unlock some of those magical things. Thanks for taking this deep dive with us.